It starts like a whisper and then becomes thunder. The moment Judge Judy looks up and says, "You're Miss Pedersen?" The whole room breathes in at once because everyone can feel this isn't a simple rent dispute. It's a story about trust, control, pride, and one small puppy that lit a fuse. Across from Miss Pedersen stands Jade Cowdery, the bakery worker with flour in her hair and hope in her pockets, who moved with her partner Taylor into the house where Miss Pedersen's daughter Addie lived. A house polished by rules and edged with thin lines no one could see until they stepped on them. The deal sounded kind at first, $400 a month, paid in gentler bites of $200 every 2 weeks. Because life doesn't always flow on the first of the month, it stutters, it slows, it presses. And a young couple trying to stand on their own as rent and work and school tangle together needs a little flexibility. So January 2013 becomes a starting line. Boxes carried in with quiet laughs. A fridge filling with little things like mustard and promise. The calendar ticking through winter into spring until a date is stamped in the bone. May 13th. The day everything snapped. The money is first. Judge Judy forces it to the surface like a pearl, asking in that crisp, clean way whether the May 1 payment, the first $200, actually happened. Addie insists no. Miss Pedersen backs her, no cash, no receipt. Jade says yes, and Taylor nods. Yes, and it's one of those messy human knots where there were never receipts because people trusted each other until they didn't. But then a soft thing enters the room. The puppy. Bright eyes, hopeful tail. Joy that doesn't understand leases. Joy that walks right over invisible lines. Addie says no dog, not until we talk, not until we agree. Jade and Taylor take the puppy out of the house, placing it with someone else, but the love doesn't leave. It hovers like a song you can't stop humming, and the puppy becomes a symbol of home and of control. Judge Judy hears it all and hears more than the words. She hears pattern. In her head, the math clicks. Regular payments before, no past rent fights. A puppy bought in early May because the young couple felt settled enough to love out loud, which usually means they believed May's first $200 was paid. Then May 13th arrives like a siren. Tape rips, cardboard mouths open, drawers empty. Addie walks in and says, "You haven't paid and you owe 30 days notice." Her voice the sound of hardwood when it's hit by a chair. Jade says they're moving out. Her voice the sound of a wall when it learns it's only drywall. Calls start. Taylor on the phone outside, Miss Pedersen on the phone with money and anger, while in the middle of the room sits a laptop, silver, simple, but in that moment, a crown. Addie picks it up, moves it to her side of the house, a line drawn by wooden will saying, "I'd really like the rent." When money goes missing from trust, people try to hold something solid, and that laptop becomes a handle on the storm. Miss Pedersen, trying to calm the air, says she'll take it outside and hand it to Taylor, who's still on the phone by the car because sometimes adults pass objects like peace offerings. Inside, the heat rises. Jade hears names thrown like rocks. Someone tells her to punch, a dare like a match. Jade refuses, but the room is already burning with breath. Then a scream cuts the world. Mother Pedersen outside yells, and both women rush to the door. Addie shouts, "Get back inside and lock the door." Words flung like a shield. Bodies collide in the frame, a body bump, a shove, a jolt. In these seconds, everyone believes their body is a fact and everyone else's rumor. Then the police arrive, and suddenly the entire day becomes grammar. Who stood where, who said knife, who entered, who never crossed the threshold. In the criminal maze that follows, Addie pays a fine, not domestic violence, she insists, misdemeanor battery. And that's the part Judge Judy refuses to retry. This civil room won't relive the cuffs. It will weigh rent, rights, and things. And now things come forward like ghosts. Opera glasses, small and elegant, brought from England, parked on a shelf like a memory with brass eyes. Miss Pedersen says they vanished the day of the move-out, that they were pawned across the street, that she has before-after photos of shelves and a picture of a pawn shop and a belief so strong it hums. But belief is not a receipt, and this is where Judge Judy becomes a metronome. Pawn receipt? Surveillance video, a ledger? Anything that ties the missing glasses to Jade or Taylor. The answers drop like dull coins. No, no, no. Jade says she never pawned anything in the last 2 years. Taylor says the same. Judge Judy explains the law's simple hunger, proof, and how pawn shops always hold paper and pictures, always, and how without that nexus a claim is a cloud. The court won't hang a judgment on mist, not even for opera glasses that shine with the light of lost evenings. Then comes the counterpunch. Jade says she was fired from the bakery after the chaos. Judge Judy nods and slices. If a cook and an owner's daughter explode into a house fight, no sane owner will keep them kneading dough at the same table. Family over employee. That's not revenge, that's gravity. Baking tools left behind, spatulas. The judge's patience snaps. This is not a spatula show. If you want the court's time, bring more than $5 handles. Assault claims without a police report? Mutual agreement not to file? Then don't ask a civil court to iron it for you. This case isn't therapy, it's a ledger. And yet beneath the ledger, a human drum keeps playing. A worker renting from a boss's family. Kindness without a contract. Rules that change in whispers. Receipts that never existed because trust once felt cheaper than paper. And Judge Judy, with that lighthouse tone, points at the rocks. If you think they're stealing, call the police or wait and sue. Don't block the door, don't hold a laptop hostage. If you claim pawned treasure, bring the receipt, bring the video, bring the signature. If you fire after a family meltdown, it's not civil wrong, it's common sense. The rent question returns like a boomerang. The pattern of payment, the purchase of a puppy as a sign of feeling current and safe, the timing of the move-out, the muddled May $200. Without receipts from a landlord who never gave receipts, Judge Judy leans toward what people actually do. When tenants are current, they buy puppies. When they're dodging rent, they don't pick up new mouths to feed. So she's not satisfied with the landlord's claim that May was unpaid. And yet she doesn't crown Jade a hero. She simply keeps the scale true. Rewind the film. January to May. A bakery where Jade learns the patience of dough. A house where invisible borders grow sharp. A puppy that turns from joy to wedge. A laptop moved like a chess piece, a scream. A police report that reads like lines carved by strangers. A judge who refuses to relitigate a criminal fine and instead hammers a civil rule. Paper over passion. And while we are here, we hear the raw edges. Addie's pride shouting 30 days like a law. Miss Pedersen's tenderness hardened by suspicion. Jade's refusal to throw a punch even when told to. Taylor's name bent into an accusation of a knife that reports say never crossed the door. We see the pawn shop in our minds. Neon buzz, camera eye, velvet trays. Waiting to speak if someone had asked it to speak on record. We feel how kindness without rules can sour into control without mercy. We feel how landlord and roommate cannot live in the same person for long without a fight. We sit through the quiet insult of missing receipts. How adults choose trust until the moment they need proof. And it's here Judge Judy does her real work. She teaches the room what to do next time. Write the rent plan. Issue the receipt every time. Say no pets or yes pets in ink, not air. Call the police before you turn a door into a shoulder war. If you think your treasures are gone, don't hope. Document. We can almost hear the tiny opera glasses whisper. If you love me, log me. And somewhere outside the courthouse, the puppy, safe in another home, still wags. A reminder that love is not the villain. Lack of boundaries is. When Bailiff Beard finally says, parties are excused, the four of them stand in the same bright light, smaller and larger at the same time. Miss Pedersen mutters that softness will be rationed from now on. Addie touches the door bruise still living in memory more than in skin. Jade breathes out the tension of hands that almost turned to fists and did not. Taylor squeezes the thought of the puppy like a small warm stone. They walk out not winners, not losers. Just people who learned too late that adult life needs more paper and fewer assumptions. And as the camera in your mind lifts, you see what Judge Judy left on the table. Not sympathy, not blame, but clarity. Clarity that says proof beats pain, receipts beat stories, calm beats confrontation. Clarity that says if you share space, share rules in writing, and if you think a wrong is happening, call a cop, not a cousin. You picture the house on May 13th one last time. Boxes like soldiers, tape like ripcord. A laptop moved to my side, a scream that was really a stop sign, and a judge who wouldn't let anyone drive past it. This entire storm began with a $200 question and a puppy, and ends with a principle. You can be kind and still keep records. You can be generous and still say no in clear letters. Love the puppy, paper the rent. Trust the worker. Separate landlord from family. If you think they stole, don't stage a scene. Build a case. And if you come to court with only feelings, don't be surprised when feelings lose. And yet the story isn't cruel. It leaves room for better next times. Next time Miss Pedersen hands a receipt with every whisper of cash. Next time Addie calls the police before moving the laptop. Next time Jade takes the puppy only after the lease says yes. Next time Taylor keeps a quiet list of what they own and what they owe. Because people don't become wiser by winning. They become wiser by being told clearly what the road actually is. And on that road, Judge Judy's signs are bright. If it's about money, write it. If it's about property, prove it. If it's about safety, call us. And above all, don't turn love into leverage. It's funny, in a sad way. The opera glasses were meant to help someone see better, but because no one kept the proof in focus, they're still out there in a case behind glass, waiting. The puppy, who only knew how to wag, became proof to the judge that rent was likely paid. The laptop, meant to connect people, became a wall between them. Everything in this story wanted to be useful and turned into a weapon, because the grown-ups forgot that boundaries are kindness with spine. And so the final image is simple. A receipt pad on a counter, a pen that still writes, a leash hanging on a hook by a door that stays open because nobody is using their body to hold it closed. The bakery opens tomorrow, ovens warming like sunrise, and maybe the lesson bakes in too. Document, don't dramatize. The house will hear new footsteps someday, ones that come with clear rules and cheerful pets and rent paid in ink. The pawnshop's camera will keep on blinking, proof ready for anyone wise enough to ask it to speak. And somewhere in a drawer, a woman who once paid a fine she still argues about will file her first real receipt, because sometimes the fastest path out of chaos is a boring piece of paper. And as you walk out of this story, remember what the judge's bench really is. Not a stage for shame, but a table where truth has to sit up straight. You may enter angry, but you leave with instructions. You may enter with stories, but you leave with standards. And if you listen, really listen, you leave with a little piece, not the soft piece of pretending, but the hard piece of knowing what to do next. Lesson for listeners and viewers. In life and in law, proof beats passion, paper beats memory, and calm beats chaos, so write clear agreements. Give and keep receipts, never use someone's property as leverage. Call the police instead of grabbing at people or things, and don't let a small puppy become the spark that burns down your peace. Kindness with boundaries is real kindness.